If you enjoy our show, spread the love wherever you listen by rating, reviewing, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff to help us get ourselves out there. And with that said, let's start the show. I'm O'Day. That's Vicky. I'm me. You're you. We are we.
Oh my God, that was so corny.
The You, Me, We
goodness.
podcast.
Yes.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the You, Me, We podcast. Vicky, we are not having another child.
Why?
Because we're not. Because I am one and done. Because I am 40, physically going on 48.
John Legend had his first baby at 40.
And John Legend is probably 40 going on 32. Physically,
How?
financially, emotionally. So that's what we're going to talk about today. For those of you who listened to episode 106, whatever the last episode was, I'm not sure when this will air, or for those of you who have probably just seen Vicky in person and spoken to her over the past 5 years. When did you start wanting another child? As soon as Khalil was out the womb, or
No.
did he grow on you and then you're like, I want another
He
one?
grew on me. So, I was then thinking about how I didn't enjoy that pregnancy and how we were just in such a bad place, and how actually we're just in such much better place. Like, we're not at 180, but we're like at 165, and I'll take it, and I just feel like I would have a much different experience this time around, no matter what happened. I also feel like we are prepared to take on if anything happens. And just seeing that Khalil, he's like always so lonely. Like he's always like, do you want to play with me? And
Nobody wants to play with me.
Yeah, and it breaks my heart. And I feel like I don't want him to have this feeling like everybody has someone and I don't. And I also think it's unfair. Like, we grew up with siblings and now we're just going to deprive him. And we both know how important that relationship is, not just as kids, but later on in life when you have to do something for your parents, or you have to, whatever it is. Like, and especially, I remember having that conversation with my sister, especially with a parent, like, to leave that to one child to be in charge of that whole thing, like having to step in and do stuff, and everything is just them. Like, that's a lot to ask for one person. And I feel like both of us coming from having siblings and growing up with siblings, I feel like we're doing him a disservice. I don't think it's fair to him, and I think that not having one is more out of selfishness for us, and like we're not thinking about
You're right.
him.
I'll admit I am being completely selfish. The reasons why I don't want to have another child are solely because of me. Some do have to do with Khalil, but I'll
Khalil's
admit,
a fireball. I
Yeah.
mean, like, he's like a freaking fireball. And there's days that I'm like, oh, I cannot do this shit
Yeah.
again.
so
But I also think that I'm in a much better place mentally, that I'm in a much better place where if I had another child, because it's one, you know what it is? It's one of those things of, I didn't grow up around kids. I was part of the last big batch of kids in my family.
okay.
Like, and that includes...
Wait, you said you didn't, or you did grow up around a lot of kids? You
No,
did.
I didn't grow up with little kids, like very, very small kids, where like you're carrying them and
Younger-
you're taking
oh,
care
younger
of
than
them.
you.
And
Okay,
you,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
like much younger, like much, much, much younger, where I'm like cleaning their butts and whatever. Like, for my sister's generation, that was...
They had y'all.
No, not me. It was the Pagis, Emmys, Gabriela, Gianna, because of that ginormous span of time between them. So,
And
like,
imagine
between
having to-
Gianna and my sister's, like, 15 years.
Imagine having to raise those in this, just
So
unsufferable.
she had exposure to babies. She had exposure to babysitting and stuff. I didn't really have that. I was part of the last batch. Like, we didn't have someone 15 plus years after us that we were really taking care of. in bunches, you know, like we didn't have that. So I don't really recall having that experience that I feel like girls who are so easy with children, I feel like they start to I don't know how to say it in English, but it's
a little more
like,
nurturing.
They're like maturing to those
Say it in Spanish for those
desarrollando to those like responsibilities. Like they're like, okay, this is a kid, so now we know like this, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to be like this. Kids are like this, kids do this, and like I didn't know any of that. So
they tend to have more innate motherly, quote unquote,
it's
motherly
not innate
skills.
It's just that they've
exposed to
those skills they've been working on those skills for a long time before by the time they have their kid. So I don't really have that. I didn't have that experience, and I feel like that added to whatever pressure and frustration and stuff with Kalel, which made it seem like, oh my God, this is impossible. But I feel like now that Kalel's older, we went through it, we lived through it, we know what to expect. You know, you even approach it a little more confidently because you're like, no, I've been here. And even if this is a completely different kid, there's still things that I don't have to stress because I already know. And I feel like that won't be there. And so, in essence, it will make it, even if it's slightly easier, it will make it slightly easier. And I feel like, why not? Like, we're both healthy. We both have...
Are we? I mean, I'm joking, but I'm being serious.
No, I mean, like,
that for both of us.
We're both healthy in that we have the capability to get ourselves to where we have to be to have a child, and we can physically both take care of the child should it come.
I thought you were going to say we can both physically do what it takes to make a child. I thought that's what you were going to say.
So I just feel like there's a lot more pros than there is cons. And there's also the whole thing of like, this child is not, this child is a family blessing. Like, it's not a me blessing, it's not a you blessing, it's a family
this
blessing.
child, meaning a second child, if we had a second child. Okay.
Yeah,
so you said this child, people are like, oh my God, is this their way of... No, it's not.
We're talking about this non-existent child.
Yes, that will not be happening. So, clearly you know by now today's topic, which is when one partner wants a second child and the other is being the sensible, reasonable one and saying no. Here's the thing.
There's no...
Here's the
thing.
Wait.
Let me clarify. Let me clarify. Because Odays, I don't know if he's trying to be a clickbait.
I'm not clickbaiting.
But you are overselling this. I am not adamant about having another child. I am saying this is a discussion we should have because I would like to entertain the idea of having another child.
I would like to, or here's the reason why
there's a difference. There's a difference of I want another child, and now we're gonna have problems because we don't have another child.
Okay.
That's not the energy at all. Like, if we don't have another child, then we just don't have another child. Mm-hmm. But there's gonna be a lot of discussions to kind of like make me feel good about where I stood and where now I stand. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's not like I want another child and it needs to happen now and you need to give me what I want. Like, it's not like that at all.
I'm just sending you these text messages every once in a while, reminding you that I want a second child. Here's my thing. I'll usually joke.
I do send him.
I'll usually joke around to my friends and family who have more than one child, who have 1+ child. I'll usually joke around and say, wait, so are the ones who now announce that they're pregnant, or they just announced me that they're pregnant or they're expecting, I will say, wait, so you saw what it took to have one, keep one alive, and feed it? You saw financially what needed to be done, emotionally, physically, and you chose, like by choice, to do it again? What is wrong with you? Going back to what I said earlier about me admitting that it is for selfish reasons, mostly selfish reasons, that I don't want to have a second child. Like Vicky said, Kalel is a handful. He has been a lot. I do feel like...
He's winding down.
Yeah, I do feel like physically...
If we would have had them back to back, that would have been...
different. And again...
No, not different. Not different.
No, I mean, different. You're right. It would be different. Again, if it happens,
Oh no, that's different.
It's cool if it happens, but
Yeah, then that's
it won't
different.
because POG's strong. POG's strong. All right, think about it. All right.
You can't say that after having a kid. You can't. You only say POG is strong if you're like 40 something and you still got no kids.
POG was
true.
POG was slacking one day, but POG strong
No,
again.
it wasn't slacking.
POG strong
Don't
again.
be trying
right?
to sell these people a lie. Okay?
Anyways, but physically, I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to do it again. I don't want to do the late nights. This is me. This is the earlier stages. I don't want to. Not saying I don't want to do it now. I'm doing it, but I don't want to. Well, emotionally, like I've told Vicky before, emotionally, Kalel has been a lot. I know for both of us on different levels for different reasons. Emotionally, Kalel has been a lot. It does, for me, example, school. It emotionally, it does hit me hard knowing that we can't just cover the basics with Kalel. We can't just say, like any other parent, like some other parents, we can't just say, oh, let's get all the supplies, let's make sure he's registered, let's figure out,
we got to put that email together.
Yeah, prime example, this is what some parents are dealing with right now. The uniforms, the stuff for the cubbies, for people who have kids of elementary school age, the stuff for the cubbies, the uniforms, the headphones, because headphones are a thing now we got to have for school, the box of tissues, the lunch. Do we want to do paid lunch? Do we want them to fix lunches? We also got to add in the email from the doctor, the email explaining exactly what to do if Kalel was to throw up, because that is a thing. Hospital got to be called. We got to figure out that. Sending Kalel over to a sleepover at a friend's house.
Not happening.
That's an example. We can't just say, or screw it, his friend lives next door as an example. We can't just say, oh, go right over, or the mom picks him up. We have to remind them, oh, his medicine is in his bag. If this happens, call us. Grab that sheet. Worst case scenario, we're far away. You might have to give him this shot that this person has never done before. So now we're putting these people in this weird place where they're like, wait, what? That takes an emotional toll. At least for me, I know that's for Vicky, but stuff like that is what I factored in, where like, I don't want to risk. They weren't able to prove when it comes to, they did a whole genetics test for both of us. They weren't able to show whether or not, where his condition came from. Is it hereditary? He might just be the first. Or like in our communities, some of us just haven't been diagnosed. When we did the purpose, we just didn't go to a doctor. But I don't want to risk the possibility of our second child having that same condition, having a condition, because let's be honest, even going back to when we found out he had that condition, those first couple months.
That was rough.
It was rough.
It was rough. However, then let me say this. A second child, let's say, what does that change about us having to do this forever for Kalel?
No, I get it. No, I agree. But I don't want to add on the possibility. Not saying I'm being completely honest right here. Yes, we will have to do it for Kalel for the rest of his life. As he gets older, there'll be more independence. He'll do stuff, whatever. But I'll be honest in saying there is that part of me that I don't look forward to having to do that with him for the rest of his life. Yes, I will do it if I had the choice to not have.
I don't think that anybody wants to do anything for a child that's like medically. I don't even know what's the right term. Like,
they have medical needs.
Yeah,
and again, we're not saying,
I don't
I
think
wish
there's
he
any
did.
parent that's like, I hope my kid is born
Yeah.
with a medical need. Like, no one. I don't know. There's just like certain things about life that nobody wants that. Like, please, if it was, I have literally said to people, I'm like, the only way that I'll have another kid is if you can guarantee me he will be healthy for the rest of their life, that they're not going to be as rambunctious and wild as Kalel, but anything could literally happen. Like, perfect example, you can have you can
have twins and
you can have twins and one is completely healthy, like 100% healthy,
and just have the basics, the cold, the flu, the pneumonia,
and then
like that.
Then you have the other twin that's like medically
rare condition.
Is a super, like, you gotta have
bubble.
It's like
bubble kid.
Yes, it's a straight up
My
bubble
nephew,
kid.
Elijah, bubble kid.
No, he's not.
Vicky, the guy needs to go vegan just so he can eat grass because he's allergic to everything. You can't even take the guy on vacation without an EpiPen. I'm joking, but another thing.
But
like,
that's my thing.
having
But no, that's to my point. Anything can happen, right? So like you can have your kid and the kid is healthy, but you don't know what you're gonna deal with years from now.
I know. I know that.
We knew that up front. Like luckily, it was a condition that you got no
5
other
doctors
shit.
knew about.
No. I mean, like, we don't have to go through life without knowing what's next. Like, they were like, here's up front. Here's everything that you can do to avoid something happening. And if something happens, here is what you should do.
Even if your primary care physician doesn't know about it,
right? Don't worry about it.
Rundown.
Here's the full thing.
And luckily, I can say with confidence. And luckily, from what we've seen with Kalal's condition, if this is there's a spectrum. Kalal's like seems to be on the bottom tier of how somebody can be affected by this condition.
Right. So,
which for those who don't know is panhypopituitarism. Google it.
We have
check some.
Well, we have episodes. Yes. We have 2 episodes, I believe.
Which we brought a doctor on who is an endocrinologist.
Yes, an endocrinologist.
Who's very well versed. Shout out to the Magic Foundation.
Magic Foundation, yeah. So actually, this month is Child Growth Awareness Month.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Anyway, so that. What I say all that to say, yes, we can hope for all these things, right? But no one really knows. Like no one knows. I think honestly, that what shifted for me was getting into the Bible more.
So once again, I was reading this book. but
it's true. Why do my stories start like that?
Explain.
So the reason why I say that is because I'm choosing to come from a place of faith instead of fear.
Gotcha.
That's really like, honestly, it's coming from that.
You use that to win people over in your argument.
No.
Of course they're going to side with you now because you brought up the Bible. Well, I was reading the Quran, right? Now y'all got to decide. You can't just bring up a biblical text or a religious text.
But it's to explain why am I shifting in what I was originally saying, which is one and done, now we're good. And you'll catch me saying that sometimes still, but it goes back to and again, I say this with the hopes that this child will live a really long time, as long as Kalal.
Hypothetical child. We are not.
I keep saying this child. I'm saying
expecting.
Like if we were to have another child, I am imagining like, okay, this is gonna be. Like Kalal's going to be their person. They're going to be Kalal's person. And when they get older, they can take care of us. They can step in for us. And we have like a squad that's ready to handle like this family. And instead of 2 eyes on Kalal, now there'll be 3. And Kalal will have eyes on us. And, like he'll always have more than just us as the backup is what I'm saying. And that's why it started to shift. Because I'm like, if I want that, then I have to be more faithful than fearful that God will see me through with, that he will balance us out. That it will be, okay, you have Kalal, I gave you the full power on that first one. I gave you the full power, but I got you on the next one. And this one's gonna, like, you're gonna have this one and you're gonna be like, I'm so happy we went through with this. The
true definition of, I'm going to butcher the phrase, but he won't give you more than he's already prepped you for. He knows you can handle.
So I feel like, and that makes me think of people who are like, oh man, if I had my second one the first time, I wouldn't have had the second one.
Damn.
Like, I feel like, no, because some kids, because they'll say like, your kids are born with always opposite personalities. Like you're going to have a strong, feisty one, me, and a timid, calmer, obedient one, my sister.
You just call Ambar basic, boring.
No, not boring. She was like
softer than Roseanne's son.
My mom definitely looked at her and was like, "Thank you, like just thank you
your
for
mom looked at her and was like, I could take
being
her.
here
She ain't never
and
gonna
just
rebel.
No, like just thank you for confirming that what I'm doing is right because you know how to follow. I just don't know what the hell's wrong with this one, like. But I feel like every household kind of has like that split. After 3, at that point, I think you guys are just asking for it.
Yeah.
But
or you could be like my parents or my mom. You could have her oldest, which is, just
Another example.
And then you have oldest, and then you have the second. And then with both of those, she's like, God,
They're
please
opposites.
give me something amazing. And then God
Anyways.
says, here is what would have been the second
Your
coming
mom
of,
had
of,
the
of
perfect
me, but
package.
you can have him.
Your mom had the perfect package.
When
and
I was
then
born.
she was like, man, I could just do another one. And then you came and she was like, oh, it's not a girl.
And God
All
was
right,
like,
well, we'll just stop there.
Anyway, but
So
going off of it,
that's where my position is coming from. That's where my opinion is coming from. I feel
My
like we'll
thing
get
is,
balanced out. Because right now it's a lot of effort with just us.
after looking at everything that he has taken to get Kalel this far, with us as a couple, with us as parents, with him, everything that revolves around him. Yes, the Kalel specific stuff when it comes to his health, and then his personality, Kalel specific personality. With factoring in all of that, I have told myself I am totally fine with doing it with just this one. I am totally fine with applying everything that I will need to apply for a billion more years as he grows and as we grow. I'm totally fine with applying it to just this one. I am totally, it's like people who say, hey, you know what? It's a hoopty, but you know what? I'm fine with just applying all of my effort, money, whatever, into just this car. I don't want to have to buy another one and that. You know what? I will make this one work. Because you know what? Financially, emotionally, physically, I know myself. I know I only have enough to give to this one. I don't think I have enough to spread it between two. I don't think I have enough to spread it between 3, 4, 5. Shout out to Donald and Erica. More power to you. Bruh. One of my coworkers just yesterday, we were talking, and he told me, we were talking about kids and daycare, and because he's considering putting his child in the same daycare that Kalel went to, pre-K. And I was like, how many? He's like, how many you got? I was like, 1. He's 5, going on 6. I was like, how many you got? He's like, 4. I hit him with the Kevin Hart. I was like, damn. Because I know for a fact he's younger than me. And I was like, damn, why?
Your brother has 4.
Again, damn, why? He's way younger
really young.
than me and has 4.
That I'm like, damn.
But I know I don't have enough to spread it out into another one. With even knowing that I have a partner who will be there every step of the way doing just as much. I just know for me, and again, I admit it's for selfish reasons, I do not want to have to give what it takes to raise a second child.
And I
or
feel like
two children at once.
I feel like, and I could be wrong because
You
again, this is
most likely are.
my assumption. A lot of the work
Mm.
and a lot of the road bumps
We
that
could just
we
give
hit.
to his grandparents. No,
Mm.
what? I'm just trying to pass off the work to the grandparents, to my mom, grandpa, Pete.
I feel like we struggled a lot as well with Kalel because we were struggling. We were struggling as individuals, and we were struggling as a partnership. I feel like a lot of that came from that. And I feel like if we were in a different state of mind, which is what I was saying before, like we are in a better place, I feel that that pressure that from your experience of Kalel, I don't see that pressure being there for a second child because we are in a way better place. Like we let us have one argument about something that I thought you were supposed to do and you thought I was going to do. We're going to be like, all right, done. We'll pull up a calendar and be like, all right, you do this here, you do this there, you do this here. Like we have a quicker way of resolving issues that I feel like plague people who live together and are raising kids. So I don't know that pressure is going to be the same, honestly. I'll be honest with you. And I feel like that's probably also why I'm more inclined to have another kid because I'm like, no, like having Kalel, I was not, I was weary of exactly how were we going to pull this off because it was in the middle of just a storm, you know? I will say with pure confidence, I don't feel that at all. If we had another kid, I feel like we would dominate at having another kid. Like I think that's probably why I'm so drawn into it. It's like, yo, we're in a good place. Like We have so much going on for ourselves right now. And like, man, if we had a kid, like, I want to use the slang that goes with like trying to
Okay, I'm interested now.
like communicate how I feel, but it's just not an appropriate slang to use towards the topic. So please don't hang me on this.
Okay, go.
But I was gonna say, yo, we would kill that shit.
Out of context, sounds horrible for some people.
But that's why I was like,
Especially
I don't know.
with the state of affairs right now.
I don't know.
But no, I get.
I don't know what other term to use. Sorry, I was raised in the hood. So yeah, that's how I feel.
I think everyone
and
everyone
I feel
gets
like
it. Yeah.
I feel like I'll speak for myself on this because I was about to make it a us, but there has always been a feeling of I could have been more, I could have done more with Kalel. I could have been more fill the blank patient, or I could have been more outgoing. I could have been whatever. I don't feel I'll have that feeling with a second kid.
So why not just
You
do
know what I'm
that?
saying? No, I'm
Moving
doing
forward,
it.
just with Kalel.
I am doing it. But that was a fear that I had with Kalel. Like, I'm not gonna be a good mom. Like, first of all, I don't know what it takes to be a good mom. I can't do this shit by myself. I don't know how to now become this like super warm, super friendly, super caressing. And like, I don't know how to do any of that shit. Now I do. And so I don't have those fears. And I feel like this ride will go so much smoother in that aspect because I'm confident that I can do that because I'm doing that, you know?
Let me ask you. This is an honest question. I know I've said it earlier, and let me know if I'm repeating myself.
Woo, it's out of here.
Do you genuinely feel, knowing what you have, put Kalel aside.
Guys, if you see me playing with my hair, I really am just checking in the camera because it's drying and growing.
Knowing what you have planned for yourself, for the near and distant future, business-wise, knowing and just knowing yourself, do you honestly feel like physically you can do it again? Physically, I'm talking about. I'm being specific here. When Kalel says, sometimes when Kalel says, "Hey, Dad, you want to play with me?" Sometimes I go because one might be that I'm doing something, or two, Other night, I came home from a gig. If you remember, I came home from a gig that was from like 8 a.m. to, I left here at 8 a.m. I got home at like maybe 6. And no, I got home late because he was already kind of ready for bed. And he was like, I got home at like 9, maybe 9:30.
Then he wanted to hang out with you.
Yeah, he was like, Daddy, can we play video games? And I was like, it was a weekend. And we usually play video games on a weekend. And I was like, ask Mommy for 20 minutes if you can play for 20 minutes. And he was like, Mommy, can I play video for 20 minutes? And you said yes. So I was like, mind you, I was done. My back is still hurting from that gig 1 week ago because I physically like threw my back out from all the bending and moving. And I went upstairs and I was drained. We turned the video games on for him. So I feel like physically I can't do it. There's times when I'll lay on the couch and I'll play with him. I'll lean over and we'll play whatever game he's playing because physically I can't do it. Knowing what you know of yourself. I'm asking, I'm not saying you're going to lie, but be honest. As well as knowing what you got planned for yourself for the future, do you feel you physically can do it? Knowing that from what we know now, from 1 to 5, it might take some of this physicality. Moving forward, Kalel, more sports, more activities, more wanting to play, more things. And knowing how tired you might have been for the past 5 years.
But I can't attribute all my tiredness. Like,
I'm not sure attributing it to Kalel. I'm
no,
attributing it to life and everything else we have going on.
I'm saying that my tiredness comes. A lot of my tiredness is here. So like, I can't answer that.
No, I got you.
Um,
A lot of mine is here. The fact that I know when I get up,
like,
it's going to take me a couple seconds to gather myself, lean onto the...
but I also think like, okay, if you see that, then you should work towards
You're right.
building your
I
body
agree,
up, and it's part of just us as parents. Like, even if our body is deteriorating, then and we can step in and slow it down, right? Because we're not gonna stop it. We'll slow it down from doing that. Even if we don't have another kid, you should still do that because Khalil still has the rest of his life, and he shouldn't have to pay the price for us not taking care of ourselves so that we can physically be able to be there for him.
And I want to build my body up.
Not even because he's, medically needy, but just nobody wants to have memories of like, damn, I always asked my parents to come outside with me, and they just never did because they were always tired or their body hurt. And there's things that we can do to eliminate that.
Yeah.
So
And I
don't know.
Going off of that,
for
I
myself,
want
if that's something that I take in, because a lot of my tiredness comes from stress about me within my life. As whether Khalil was here or not, I would still have that feeling.
Gotcha.
Like, if that makes sense.
I want to build my body back up to handle the current load.
I think that's fair.
What the current load is and what I expect the current load, and not just Khalil, but the current life load will be. With the trajectory of, if that's the right word, with what it entails now, I don't feel I can physically handle the life load, with another child in it. Physically as well, I guess going off of what you said, for me, the mental and the physical together, I don't think I can, the mental and the physical life load, I don't think I can handle it if another child was included in it.
I think...
Whew! I'm tired thinking about everything.
My response to that is I just think that you are
realistic.
Being
realistic. Very realistic.
You have a lot of anxiety based on where you were in life when you had Khalil. And I think you're taking a lot of that and applying it to the future, which is normal. But I think that you're disregarding that you're really not in the same place as you were when you had Khalil. That you are in a much, much better place. Physically, that makes sense. But also,
I'm about to be 41.
You also don't take care of your body.
But even still, I'm about to be 41.
Yeah, but you also eat like shit. So what is it that you expect your body to do when you eat like shit? Have have a super powerful structure and to have that back intact when you're surviving off Wendy's and Dunkin' Donuts?
Today's episode is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts and Wendy's. When you want to have your back intact.
Don't drink this. So that's
day.
pretty much where my position is coming from. Like, I don't want to base my experience with Khalil. I don't want to add that to another kid because it's not fair. Because it's not fair because where I was and where I am is completely different. I feel like we were here and now we're here, and the trajectory of our relationship and us as people is moving up and not going down. So to me personally, I don't see how having another child will make it go down. I don't see it, and I have faith that it's not gonna do that. And if anything, this conversation just convinced me even more that I want to have a kid.
Damn. Thank you all for tuning into this episode of the You, Me, We podcast, where Uday explains why people should only have one kid, and he is correct because he is being realistic, and Vicky is just going off of emotion, scared. And because we have an amazing...
I think you're being scared.
No, Vicky is just going off the fact that we have an amazing child, and she wants to have a second amazing child, which I know we would, but...
Right, they'd be awesome. And also, I'm not going to lie, I really would like to have another baby and it be a girl. Because I'd like to see you be dad to a girl.
A hashtag girl dad?
I think you'd be a fantastic girl dad. Like, I want a girl because, you know, my family's like a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that you would be an awesome girl dad.
I know I would be.
So,
but we'll never find out because POG strong.
It's not
Thank
strong.
you all for tuning in to another episode of the You, Me, We podcast.